2.0 Withering Waves just dropped. Carlotta just released. The patch is insane. So many great things between the music, the map, the exploration, the voice acting, the story, like everything is just I'm completely in love with the current update. And in today's video, I'm going to talk to you about Carlotta. It's going to be a quick Carlotta guide, basically explaining the rotations, the team, the builds, etc., and how she works, so you can maximize her damage output and play the best way possible. And yeah, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Hope this video is helpful, and let's get into it. First, Carlotta is the first limited Glacio DPS, 5-star. So far, we only had Ling Yang, we had Yuha that could kind of act as a DPS if you have S6, and Juja deals a lot of damage, but she's not a main DPS. So she's literally the first Glacio limited DPS.
Whether it's for show or for battle.
And she's also the first 5-star gun. She's also the first 5-star gun character, so this is pretty unique. A lot of first with Carlotta, and her gameplay is very, very fun. We're gonna go over the weapon, the echoes, the talents, and maybe her constellations, her like wave bands. I'll check it. I haven't checked it actually yet, but we'll check together. In terms of weapons. Her signature weapon is going to be the best option. Of course, it gives 72 crit damage, which is massive. But if you don't have the funds to pull for the signature weapon, the standard weapon is going to be fine. It gives a lot of crit rate. It gives some energy recharge, which is not totally useless, because if you don't play her rotation very, very well, you might feel like you're lacking energy sometimes. So the energy recharge is going to be pretty useful. And it also gives attack to the incoming resonator. Usually you're going to swap out from Carlotta into the support, so it's not very useful, but who knows. Can maybe be useful at some point, but overall the crit rate and the energy recharge is still going to be useful. And if you don't have any 5 stars, the best 4-star option for Carlotta, in my opinion, is going to be Undying Flame. I'm not able to test it, but it gives attack percent, and after you intro skill with her, so when she enters the field, she gains 35% skill damage bonus, which is very good for her, because most of her DPS is going to be considered skill damage bonus, and even her signature weapon gives 48% skill damage bonus. So this weapon is going to be very equivalent at R5, at least for pure skill damage bonus. Of course, it doesn't give as much crit damage, doesn't give attack, doesn't give as much base attack either, but it's still gonna be a solid option. So if you have Undying Flame, I would recommend it. Otherwise, any other 4-star gun is gonna be okay, but not really insane. The energy recharge one is not gonna be very useful. Relativistic Jet is gonna be okay, but not crazy. So Undying Flame is really the best 4-star option after the standard weapon. In terms of echoes, gonna be pretty straightforward. We got new set that gives skill damage and Glacio damage. It's gonna be the best option for her. Like, there's no way around this. You can use 4-piece Glacio in the meantime if you're farming the new set and you don't have good stuff. 4-piece Glacio is pretty good. I used that for a minute before getting some decent stuff on mine, and it was working fine. So this is a good option, but I would use this as a placeholder and definitely farm the new set, especially if you're planning to pull for future Rina Sita characters. In terms of stats, if you're using her signature, you're probably going to go crit rate main stat on the forecast, but if you're using the standard weapon, probably crit damage. Depends your substat. If you get double crit substat everywhere, you probably want to go the opposite of the main stat weapon. So crit rate if you're running crit damage if you're running crit rate. And in terms of 3 cost and 4 cost, it's still going to be Glacio, and attack. If you can't get Glacio, as usual, attack main stat can be useful and can be fine. It's not going to be a massive loss of DPS. You already gain a lot of Glacio damage and damage bonus everywhere. You get skill damage bonus here. You get 22% Glacio damage from the passive of the Echo set. You can't see that because I'm behind it, but yeah, you get some skill damage bonus and some Glacio damage. So pretty good. And Zhezha, if you play with Zhezha or Lumi or another character that gives resonant skill damage, you will gain even more damage percent bonus. So Zhezha gives 24% skill damage and 20% glacial damage. So attack main stack can be just fine on Carlotta if you don't find a good glacial with substats. In terms of substats, it's gonna be pretty straightforward as well. Crit rate, crit damage, resonant skill damage is gonna be great. All her damage is resonant skill damage basically. And if you can get a bit of energy or attack substat, it's useful. It's not priority, but it's not terrible. So crit rate, crit damage, resonant skill, attack ER if you can, but at least crit and resonant skill. In terms of talents, you kind of want to level up everything except the normal attack. I leveled up the normal attack here a little bit, but realistically, if your rotation is perfect, you will never almost normal attack with Carlotta. She's still a gun character at the end of the day, so you can level up the normal attack if you sometimes want to spend a bit more time on field for her, or in the open world or stuff like that. But for pure DPS rotation, the normal attack is not very used. Resonant skill, Forte Circuit, and Resonance Liberation are going to be the main three talent to level up, like most characters usually. Resonance Liberation, super important, and Forte Circuit, super important. Resonance skill, a little bit less important, but it's still going to be part of your rotation, so it's kind of wasted damage if you don't level it up. And then intro skill, as usual, intro skill is not really like insane damage. The scaling is never massive, but you use it on everyone because the whole gameplay of Wuthering Waves is regarding outro and intro. So if you don't level up the intro, it's kind of wasted damage that you will use anyways, so might as well level it up. But priority, Liberation Circuit, Forte Circuit, and Resonance skill. And of course you want to have this. She ascends with crit rate, so you can, even if you don't have all the crit rate substats, you should still have decent crit rate. If I finish to get those, I will have like 58. So it's gonna be okay. I'm still missing a lot of crit rate substats. Like here, no crit rate, no crit rate. So I'm still missing 2 crit rate substat plus the talent. So I'll get like 15 more or something like that, maybe 20 even. It's gonna be fine. Now for the wave bands, crit rate S1 can give you a bit more crit rate, 12.5% crit rate extra when you attack an enemy inflicted by deconstruction. It's going to be in her passive talents. We'll go over it right after we check that. And when resonance skill Chromatic Splendor hits a target inflicted with dispersion, Carlotta additionally restores 30 points of substance, which is her Forte circuit. Now S2 basically just more damage on the ultimates, on the Resonance Liberation. S3, your outro skill deals additional strike at the end of the outro skill. Basically 1000% glacial damage, 1000% of Carlotta's attack as glacial damage, which is pretty not negligible. Not negligible, and also increase the resonance skill damage by 93%, so it's good damage. The C4, the S4 gives you 25% skill damage bonus after you cast heavy attack. So her charge attack, it gives 25% skill damage to the whole team. S5, a bit more damage on your charge attack, and S6, a lot of damage. A lot of damage. 200% extra damage on the shots from the Liberation. And what? And then it immobilized the target with the shots, so it's kind of disgusting. Okay, that's kind of broken. I would say like C1, C2 is gonna be a S1, S2 is gonna be pretty good damage increase. After that, it's kind of whatever. I mean S3 is gonna be pretty good hits, I guess. But I'd say S1, S2 pretty insane. S6 is gonna be kind of disgusting. Basically, you don't have to dodge anything. You don't have to worry. Enemies stun during your ult, so and you gain an extra 200%. So pretty big. You can see right now I start the fight without Forte energy at all. When you use your skill or when you do normal attack, you will charge your Forte. So here, if I use my skill twice, it stuns the enemy as well, and I gain a little bit of Forte. All right, so here I will charge my Forte fully. That's not how you want to do it with normal attack, but it's just to show you. So when your Forte is fully charged, you can see that I have this hourglass icon here, which means my next liberation is going to be buffed. I will gain an extra 80% liberation. I'll check the numbers right after. But basically, it buffs your liberation, so you really want to use your liberation after you maximize your Forte circuit energy. And as you can see, even if I use my charge attack and use all my Forte energy, the hourglass icon is still going to be there. The hourglass icon is not going to disappear until I use my my liberation. All right, if I never use my liberation, the buff is still going to be there, or maybe like 30 seconds or 1 minute or something. I don't know, but I never waited that long. So even if I swap out here and I go back, I still have the hourglass. So if I use my ult now, I will get the damage buff. All right, you always want to stack your Forte before you use your liberation with Carlotta. And the thing to keep in mind is that all her damage, or 90% of her damage, is considered skill damage, resonant skill damage. So even her liberation here, you can see here, Carlotta fires powerful shots with her musket, summons 4 crystal shards to attack the target, dealing glacial damage, considered resonant skill damage. And then the final hit is also considered as resonant skill damage. That's why Zhezha is so good, because when you outro from Zhezha, you get skill damage and glacial damage. And that's why Lumi can work fine as well, or Taochi. They're not really that great. Taochi is really not that great in general, but Lumi can work fine, even though her buff is a little bit short. Otherwise, I'll show you different options afterwards. But yeah, most of her damage is considered resonant skill damage. Her charge attack is also considered resonant skill damage. And here you can see that when substance is full, which is her Forte gauge, and she enters the final blue state. The final blue state is the hourglass icon that we could see above the gauge. And when she's in that state, the multiplier of resonance liberation is increased by 80%, as I said earlier. So, and this effect only ends when she switched off the field during her liberation. So it only disappears after you use your liberation either way. So if you use liberation, you switch, you lose the buff. If you use liberation, you do all your hits. The buff disappears after you did all the damage, and then you have to recharge your Forte gauge completely. And then that's the main part of her kit, like all the little like crystals here on her that you see. They don't really matter that much. It's just so you know that when you use them, you gain some Forte energy. So here, the first 3 hits give crystals, and then the next 3 they use the crystals, and then you get Forte energy after you use the crystal. The skill gives you some crystals as well. So if you do skill and then some normal attack, you will gain some more energy, but realistically, you will never use your normal attacks. Now, in terms of teams, what teams can be good with Carlotta? Her best team is going to be Carlotta, Shorekeeper, Zhezha. Shorekeeper can be replaced, of course, by Verena, or if you have S6 Baizha.
Why hesitate if you
S6
know what
Baizha
you
will
want?
give you some glacial damage for 20 seconds, 12% glacial damage for 20 seconds, so it is pretty decent. Baizha overall is very, very solid. Like, people, I think she's a bit underestimated, but she basically gives the same buff as Verena, so 15%. Plus, if you have S6 for Carlotta, it's perfect. Gives a little bit less buff than Verena still, but you still get some attack bonus, some damage bonus, so it's a little bit harder to execute, but you don't really feel it that much in the gameplay. Yeah, Baizha, Verena, Shorekeeper, all good. Shorekeeper being the best, of course, because she kind of fits the rotation timings almost perfectly. Zhezha, best support for Carlotta because of glacial damage, resonant skill damage. But if you don't have Zhezha, you can use Lumi, as I said earlier. Her buff
Eyes on the
gives
horizon.
elemental resonant skill damage bonus as well, 38%, but it only lasts for 10 seconds, which can be a bit difficult for a full rotation of Carlotta, because Carlotta takes a little bit of on-field time. So you might not get the full, like the damage buff for every single hit towards the end of the rotation, but it's still pretty good. Still pretty good. So Lumi can be a decent option. And then Tauchi also gives skill damage, same as Lumi, but the problem with Tauchi is that her Concerto energy is really, really difficult to get back. She's really slow. She doesn't really do anything other than that. At least Lumi has deep damage with her Liberation and some hits, so she's not too bad. And other than that, if you don't play as a regular healer plus skill damage buff team, you can basically play any healer with her, and then last slot can be a quick swap character, like, I don't know, like Chengli, can be Shengli Yao, can be Rover, can be Yinlin off field as well for off field damage. You got a decent amount of option that can work. Mortify can work as well. Like, they don't have real synergy with her, but they're still good characters and they can still work together. So nice detail, when your Forte gauge is full, her hair is crystals. It is beautiful, actually. Even with that hair, it looks very nice. Now, when it comes down to the rotation, it is going to be pretty straightforward. You don't want to mess this up, though, so you can make sure you get your full Forte gauge completed and get your full damage bonus on the Liberation. So here you go. I'm going to show it to you real quick, and I'm going to post the description on the screen as well, so you can understand everything. You want to start with your skill to get your Forte, then switch to Shorekeeper. Star is not the best boss to do this because he cancels stuff all the time, but it should be fine. After Shorekeeper, so you want to use Shorekeeper ult a little bit late so you don't waste time. I mean, so you don't miss the intro after Carlotta's thing. After the intro into Carlotta, you want to skill again, get your full Forte, charge attack, ult. Get your ult buffed by everything. Boom, do max damage. Do skill again to get your Forte gauge again. Do echo and then switch to Shorekeeper. As you can see, I didn't get the intro with Shorekeeper because I ulted a little bit too early earlier. And then you basically repeat the rotation. Boom. I kind of messed up the Zhuzh stuff here, but it's fine. Boom, you get Zhuzh outro. Boom. Heal again. Charge attack. Ult. And then this is big. Oh, I didn't dodge. My bad. Boom, we break it again. Big damage. Skill. Echo, Shorekeeper, and then almost dead. Almost 1 minute clear. Considering I messed up the rotation a little bit, 1 minute clear with a level 6 talent Carlotta. Not all traces, not all stuff leveled up either, so it is pretty good. Okay, I kind of messed up at the end, but you get the thing. As you can see, when you use your Liberation, you can do your shots, swap to someone else, and come back to Carlotta and still do her shots, but you will lose the full buff from the Forte passive. So let's see, if I do my full, if I get my all my energy, damn, that echo attack is also pretty insane. Okay, so here I have my, you see the hourglass buff as I talked about earlier, that I mentioned earlier. If wait, let me get my Liberation again. Okay, so you can technically swap cancel everything with Carlotta, charge attack, and Liberation, but if you swap during her Liberation, you will lose the buff. So you see here, let's do, I do my charge attack and I do my Liberation. You still see the hourglass buff on Carlotta. Boom, I can do 2 shots. But if I switch to Zhuzh and I go back to Carlotta, I don't have the I do not have the hourglass anymore, which means my damage is much... I'm losing 80% damage increase basically, so it's kind of a wasted... I mean, I'm not getting the whole DPS. If you're not playing this team, I think doing quick swap setups can still be pretty good, especially if you play with like Cheng-Li or stuff like that. Because like here, for example, you can swap the charge attack, you can swap cancel the charge attack, so you can still do some very, very quick rotation, I think. So if you play with Cheng-Li, it is possible to do some quick swap stuff with Carlotta and not necessarily maximize her personal DPS. But otherwise, you really do not want to. You really do not want a quick swap with Carlotta because you want a charge attack and then liberation to get maximum damage on her ultimate.
Masterpiece complete.
133. I didn't even have shortkeeper buff. So yeah, that's basically it for her rotation. If you're not playing with Zhuzha and you're not playing but you're playing with Lumi or stuff like that, it's basically the same rotation. Might be a bit tricky on Lumi to generate Concerto, so you can also go with this weapon if you have it, Discord. It will give you energy on Lumi, so you can use her liberation every time and also get Concerto energy back. But if you don't have Discord, then any attack weapon is going to be fine. It's not going to be insane, but it still works. And then or you can just use the big willing melody that gives you Concerto energy as well. And same if you're using Taucha. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the Carlotta guide. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.